boy with completely empty pockets. No money, no connections, no rich family, sometimes not even enough food to eat. People looked at him and laughed. Look at this boy. He can't even afford proper shoes, and he dreams big? But what nobody knew was that this poor boy was carrying something more dangerous than money, a big mind. And one day, that changed everything. But here's the real question. How do you think big when life gives you nothing? How do you dream of success when your reality keeps reminding you that you are poor? And how did one simple shift in thinking completely transform the life of a boy who had nothing? Stay till the end, because this story might completely change the way you see your own life. By the end of this story, you'll understand why thinking big is not motivation. It's not positive thinking. It's not fake confidence. It is a mindset that can completely change your future, even if your pockets are empty right now. And trust me, the ending of this story is not what you expect. You see, most people think money changes lives, but sometimes money comes later. Thinking comes first. Many people stay trapped in the same life, not because they are untalented, not because they are unlucky, but because they slowly stop believing that something bigger is possible. And this boy could have easily become one of them. But he made one unusual choice, a choice that changed his destiny. The boy grew up in a tiny, broken house. Rainwater leaked through the roof. Some nights, the family ate properly. Some nights, they slept hungry. His father worked hard. Still, there was never enough money. And every day, reality repeated the same message. People like you don't become successful. School friends mocked him. Neighbors ignored him. Relatives pitied him. And slowly, the world began teaching him something dangerous: to think small. But one day, something strange happened. The boy saw a rich man getting out of a big car. Everyone around him respected him. People listened when he spoke. Doors opened for him. And for the first time, the boy asked himself a question. What makes someone rich? Was it luck? Family? Money? Or something else? That night, lying on a thin mattress, staring at the broken ceiling, he made a quiet promise to himself. I may be poor today, but I refuse to think poor. And from that day on, something changed. Instead of complaining, he started observing successful people, how they talked, how they behaved, how they solved problems. Because deep inside, he had started believing one thing. Maybe my pockets are empty, but my future doesn't have to be. Thinking big sounded powerful, but reality? Reality was brutal. The next morning, nothing changed. His pockets were still empty. His clothes were still old. His problems were still waiting for him. And life had no sympathy. Sometimes, he walked miles because he couldn't afford transport. Sometimes, he skipped meals pretending he wasn't hungry. And sometimes, he watched other kids laugh at dreams bigger than their circumstances. Bro, people like us stay poor. Stop dreaming so much. Be realistic. That word, realistic. The world loves teaching poor people to be realistic. But the boy noticed something strange. The people giving advice were stuck in the same life, same problems, same excuses, same limits. And one day, he asked himself something dangerous. What if being realistic is exactly why most people never change? That question changed everything, because now he stopped looking at his life as permanent. Instead, he started seeing it as temporary. Poor? Yes. Broken? Maybe. But finished? Never. Still, there was one painful truth. Big dreams don't erase real struggles. And soon, life hit him harder than ever. One evening, the boy overheard something. Two successful men were talking. One of them said, "Before success becomes visible, it becomes mental." The sentence hit him like lightning. Mental? What did that even mean? Then, slowly, he understood. Poor people often wait for life to improve before they believe in themselves. But successful people? They believe first. Then life catches up later. And from that day, the boy created one strange rule. Act bigger than your current reality. No, he wasn't pretending to be rich. He wasn't faking success. He simply refused to think small. If successful people woke up early, he woke up early. If successful people learned new skills, he learned. If successful people solved problems, he trained himself to think differently. Even when life looked small, his thinking stayed big. And slowly, something invisible began changing inside him. But outside, life was still getting worse. Then came the hardest season of his life. Failure. Again. And again. And again. He tried small opportunities. Failed. Tried learning new things. Struggled. Applied for chances. Rejected. People around him started losing patience. Even family members said, "Maybe you should stop chasing impossible dreams. Accept reality." And honestly, for the first time, the boy almost believed them. At night, fear became louder. What if they were right? What if this was all useless? What if dreaming big was just making life harder? Because thinking big hurts when your life feels small. And slowly, doubt entered his mind, the same mind that once felt unstoppable. Suddenly, the future looked blurry. And for a moment, he almost quit. Maybe this was the end. Maybe the world had been right all along. Maybe poor people should stop dreaming. Maybe success only belongs to lucky people. And standing there, looking at his empty pockets, the boy whispered, "Maybe I was stupid for believing." Everything felt broken. Everything felt over. But life had one surprise left. One random day, something unexpected happened. The boy met an old man. Not rich-looking, not famous, just ordinary, but strangely wise. The old man noticed sadness in his eyes and asked, "Why do you look defeated?" The boy laughed bitterly. "Because dreams don't pay bills." The old man smiled, then said something that the boy would never forget. "Poor is not a pocket problem. Poor is a thinking problem." The boy stayed silent. The old man continued, "You think success starts when money comes. No. Success starts the moment your thinking becomes bigger than your fear." Most people stay trapped because they shrink their dreams to fit their reality. Winners do the opposite. They expand their thinking until reality finally catches up. And in that moment, something clicked. The boy realized maybe his biggest enemy was never poverty. Maybe it was small thinking. The next morning, the boy woke up different. Not richer, not luckier, not successful, but different. Because for the first time, he stopped waiting for life to change and decided to change himself first. He started learning every day, even when nobody believed in him. He worked harder, but more importantly, he started thinking differently. Whenever problems came, instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" he asked, "What is this trying to teach me?" Whenever fear appeared, he reminded himself, "My current situation is temporary." And slowly, tiny things started changing. A small opportunity appeared, then another. A new skill helped him earn a little money. A person noticed his effort. A door opened, then another. And suddenly, the boy noticed something strange. The same people who once laughed were now asking questions. "How are you changing so fast?" But they couldn't see what had truly changed, because success had started much earlier, back when his pockets were still empty, back when nobody believed in him, back when he decided, "I refuse to think small." But life still had one final test waiting for him, because thinking big sounds exciting, until life asks, "How badly do you really want it?"
Years passed. Slowly, the boy built a better life. Not perfect, but better.
He could finally help his family. He bought things he once dreamed about. People respected him now. The same people who laughed started calling him lucky. Lucky. Funny, right? Nobody saw the nights of fear, the failures, the hunger, the self-doubt. Nobody saw the invisible battle. And honestly, this looked like success. This looked like the ending. But the boy realized something deeper. Money wasn't the real reward. Something bigger had happened. The biggest change was never in his pocket. It was in his mind. Because one day, the boy looked back at his old life, the broken house, the hunger, the pain, the hopeless nights. And suddenly, he understood something powerful. His life changed the moment his thinking changed. Not when money arrived, not when success came, not when people respected him. It started earlier, the exact moment he stopped allowing his circumstances to define his future. Because poor circumstances don't create poor lives. Poor thinking does. And rich thinking? That changes everything. The boy once had empty pockets, but deep inside, he carried something priceless. Vision. And eventually, reality had no choice but to catch up. Remember the boy from the beginning? The one people laughed at? The one with torn clothes and empty pockets? People looked at what he had, but he focused on what he could become. That was the difference. Everyone saw poverty. He saw possibility. So if life feels hard right now, listen carefully. Maybe your pockets are empty. Maybe life feels unfair. Maybe people around you don't believe in you. That's okay. Because success does not begin in your bank account. It begins in your thinking. The dangerous thing about thinking big is that it slowly changes what you believe is possible. And once your belief changes, your actions change, your habits change, your confidence changes. And eventually, your entire life changes. Never let your current reality convince you that your future has limits. Because sometimes, the only difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary one is the size of your thinking. But here's something even more interesting. Why do most people secretly stay small even when they want a bigger life? There's a psychological reason behind it. And once you understand it, you may never think the same way again.